welcome to it. It's your boy RTG, RandomTitanGuy, coming at you with a little something different. As opposed to the usual RPG adventure kind of games, I'm going to slow things down a bit with a bit of a series upload for the channel. A direct to YouTube sort of thing, and we're going to be doing a bit slower paced stuff mostly, but I'm thinking to start with Humankind. It is a Forex strategy game by Amplitude Studios. It came out about last year, if I'm not mistaken. It had a beta period before, and I played the beta. There's been a bunch of changes, AI stuff, graphic stuff, balancing changes, but since release I've only played maybe 2 hours of the game. So I figured, what better way to get back into the game than entertaining the peoples. So for those unfamiliar, Humankind is a strategy game, turn-based, kind of empire building. Think Civilization. For those even less familiar, Civilization is a game where you start off, you select a nation, and you try to get that nation to win. Humankind is similar, but you don't play as a particular nation. You start off as a nomadic tribe. You advance through the eras, and you select your civilization and evolve your civilization as time goes on. So you can select a civilization, like the first civilization you get when you have the opportunity, and you can stick with that. Or you can be one civilization in the ancient era, one to the classical, one to medieval. Hold on to that for maybe 2-3 years, and then you get to modern day, switch to something else. All of that is possible. Now all those are possibilities. The only thing you can do is we're starting off I added an extra person because you usually have 6 people competing. Starting on a world map, it did a bit of editing, but it's mostly standard. We're playing on the normal speed, so I can get a feel as to how long it would take to do a playthrough of the game. If anything, we may drop the speed, increase the speed to make the game last longer, because the pace of the game affects production. It kind of affects like battles that go on between armies, because slower paced games can have bigger army battles, because you have the so I only took off in terms of victory conditions, researching all technologies, because I find that if you research all technologies, that's kind of par for the course. That's expected of you to do. So I find that as a victory condition kind of off-putting. But everything else is standard. We have a turn limit, we have an error limit. Wait, no. Let's also take off the error limit, just in case. And then you can eliminate all the other empires or vassalize them, like absorb them into your empire but leave them to do what they're doing. Or you can settle on Mars. So that's pretty much how we're going. Me personally, I may lean towards the as conquest. But who knows, we may end up just vassalizing everybody. And then, in terms of difficulty, I'm starting off on Nation, which is a step above Metropolis, which is the game's default difficulty. And there's a cute little homage or slight comment towards Civilization, which is humankind's biggest competitor, I would say, or is the poster boy of the 4X Empire strategy games. So Civilization is the second highest difficulty, in which one area we will achieve, all in hopes of getting to humankind and beating that difficulty. Okay, so with those formalities out of the way, expect a well, you can look at the timestamp and see how long this video is, but yeah, it's not going to be as long as a regular stream. It may have a bit more talking than regular streams, and you get to see what I would do if I were to lead a nation. But all that aside, without further ado, let's see how far we can take humankind.
Our universe contains infinite stories, most of which are about rocks and ice at sub-zero temperatures in a vacuum. Rather boring. However, on a small damp rock, there is a story that bears a second look. It's your story. But the first 4 billion years or so mostly concern amino acids. Not much of a page turn. But then, over time, the amino acids bond together, and things start to get interesting and a bit drier. A certain subspecies of hominid discovers that you can do more with a sharp rock than annoy your little brother. Tools and weapons are invented. The hominids begin to cooperate. Fire becomes a servant rather than an unpredictable force of nature. They learn to tan the skins of animals for clothing. They learn ways to record and probably exaggerate their adventures. Eventually, these tribes learn to build shelters and immediately hold the first barbecue parties. This is the dawn of humankind. Struggle and cooperation have been rewarded. The Neolithic era draws to a close. The whole world beckons. This tribe has come far, but the rest of their story is your story. You are the one who will build them into a great civilization. How far will you push humankind? Here is where it begins. The future that you carve through force of will and a bit of luck, out of the raw stuff of planet Earth. Alliances and enemies, wealth and danger, power and penury. May you leave the greatest mark.
Okay. I love the narrator in this game. I haven't seen those era advancing videos. I haven't seen all of them, but the few I've seen, hilarious. So, Humankind is a bit of a different game compared to most 4X games. Instead of rushing science or rushing production and just beating everybody off the face of the planet, you have to achieve what's known as era stars. And this game, you don't win by being the first to do whatever at the end of the game. You win by having the highest score. So, okay, let's quick quick rundown, even though I think the game would give us tutorials, but the objective is to get one era star in the Neolithic era, and you get said era stars by growing population. So you get a total 5 people in your cities, even though I don't think cities are a Neolithic thing. You more get outposts, which is a whole thing that the game will explain. You can get knowledge stars, a total 10 knowledge points for your knowledge star, or you can get a hunter star. So defeating enemies or wild animals, you can earn, defeating 5 of them will earn you 1 era star in the Neolithic era. And as time goes on, well, as we leave the Neolithic, you'll see, but we'll require more era stars with increasing difficulty to achieve them. And different civilizations earn different perks. Well, yeah, different civilizations earn different perks towards achieving era stars. So yeah, our first objective is to survive the Neolithic era and earn our first era star. Okay, and this is how the game starts. We have a hunting party, just 1 troop, and we're supposed to just explore, pick up resources like this, explore the land, find friends, enemies.
Yes.
If you learn nothing else, you could learn what killed them.
Okay, so this gave us 2 knowledge stars and a bit of influence. Yes. So you get, with the influence, we can settle on outposts. Ooh, these are actually pretty good. So outposts are this game's early cities. There are a few steps in between forming an outpost and getting an actual city, but you need an outpost to get a city unless you plan to take it from someone. So from what I know or what I understand, it's best to get an outpost with a total food and production around the 20-ish total. So 11 food, 14 production. That's pretty good. But yeah, we'll settle that later. For now, just end the turn and head towards the river. Okay. What's this? A reef gives extra food and vision, or no? I guess it doesn't really do anything. Oh, it has increased movement costs. Okay. So this is a slightly more defensible area, and this is very defensible because this is deep water, so most boats can't get here until very late in the game. And then you have reefs on the other side, so this is the fastest way through, which is bottlenecked by another reef. So far, water-wise, this seems like a very defensible territory. Okay, and on that note, while we head towards this game is a bit different in that when you are settling your empire, you don't just plop down a city and grow to it.
Sustenance, security, and pleasure. Wonderful stuff, this simple food.
Okay. Let me finish my train of thought and then I explain this whole food thing. As you can see, there are these white dotted lines. We settle an outpost inside the white dotted lines, and those become our boundary markers. So that is what our empire, everything within the dotted line is ours once, or owned by somebody once they have an outpost in it. And nobody can settle an outpost inside a territory that somebody has an outpost in. You can turn an outpost into a city, or you can attach outposts onto cities. That's something that will be expounded on later. Otherwise, so where you settle is a key factor in the defensibility of your outpost / city. Its resources, because your outpost, I believe, generates based on what is immediately surrounding it. So if you were to settle like here, you only get the benefits of the tiles immediately surrounding it within the border of the outpost you have settled. So if you want benefits from this outpost, you have to build another outpost and attach it to the city. Again, we'll get to that later. Foodstuff. In the Neolithic era, and some special units which have this nomadic I guess ability. Whenever you can gather food, or if you defeat enemies, you gain food. And once you hit the threshold, you get an entirely new unit. So, as a nomadic tribe, we try to gather food for the growth stars. That is the fastest way. But we settle here, and we have a event. So this is another way Humankind is different from a lot of other Forex games. They have narrative events which kind of drive your civilization. So narrative events that are somewhat random, somewhat not procedurally generated, but some things are consistent. So if you do A and B and C, sometimes C triggers something, sometimes it doesn't, but B always triggers this narrative event. So narrative events will occur during the game based on how you play and how you shape your empire. It is up to you to choose how to respond to these historical challenges. Carefully review the proposed choices and make the best possible decision for you and your people. So let's check it out. The stories in the stars. On cloudless nights, after the fires have dimmed to embers, many of the tribe raise their eyes to the heavens, mesmerized by the vast ocean of stars. Some have noticed recurring patterns among the brighter stars, and in these shapes they imagine the forms of heroes and beasts. Stories of their adventures, their victories and their defeats are flourishing. Myths can be born here, you realize. Ones that have the power to shape the tribe. What themes will you encourage? Okay, so most, if not all, of the in-game story events are based off legitimate real-world happenings, things that have happened, real-world references, and I think, I guess this comes from one of the DLCs. So this is from the Cultures of Latin America pack, which is interesting because I know I've never seen this before. Okay, so we can get 20 food on the hunting party, which is guaranteed to grow it, plus have an additional 10 food left over. If we choose the theme of nature, you can choose the theme of destiny and give 20 influence, we are currently not generating influence, or we get influence from gathering with the knowledge star stuff. We can choose violence and get ferocious, which is +1 combat strength, which I don't think is very useful because we haven't found anyone or anything to fight. I think personally I'll go with nature, so this way we have more troops, and neither of them have movement speed. Okay, so next turn. Tutorials. Okay, that's okay. So this unit we can transfer, put them down here. Okay, so this is the unit with no food, and this is the unit with 10 food. So we can quickly pop them over here, and boom, that's another unit altogether with a little bit of movement left. So I can put them here. Okay, and here is another discovery and a deer. So okay, let me pop over here, grab this, get a bit of scouting, bit of mountains over here. Okay, so there's a bit I know of the game. Me personally, I like to go for the knowledge stars. If you get if you get 10 knowledge stars before you change over to your new civilization, you get the ability to pick a legacy trait, which I'll explain more when this selection of empires comes up. But that's useful to get, and knowledge stars are the only way to get said bonuses. Okay, so for this fight, in Humankind, terrain plays a very big role. So if you look at this forest, which is next to a cliff, down to this dry land, attacking from high ground gives you a bonus. And if you look at how the selection, the solid white lines on the outline is the battle zone. So once we begin a battle, it happens within this I think it's like 4x6 rectangle. These get bigger as the game progresses when you have more and more troops in a battle. But in the Neolithic era, it's basically 1-on-1 or 1v2 or 2v2 kind of fights. So this is currently one deer, and this symbol indicates that it is peaceful. So generally peacefully symboled creatures / nations won't attack unless provoked. So currently, if we attack the deer from here, we'll be fighting it 1-on-1. There are later technologies that allow additional troops to be added, and for troops in the entire battle zone to be just pulled into one fight. But honestly, I think one troop can handle this fight. I'll get these guys moving over, get these guys to begin the fight. And position matters. So from here, it's not necessarily the best because the deer has a bit of high ground. So I'm going to manually battle. In the deployment phase, I can select where I want my troops to go. And I think here's a good spot so I can walk around and maybe attack the deer from behind. Since I attacked, I should be going first. And this is the deer's... So this is my deployment zone, anything with my purple color. So I can put any of my troops here on these zones. And their troops they can put anywhere here. So even though we began the battle here, it's no guarantee that the deer stays here. So he can pop up any of these 4 low grounds or one of these 2 high grounds. Okay, so, and then the battles are largely either rout the enemy or capture their flag. So if you see this, this is our nation's flag. I don't think, no, wild animals don't have flags because they have nothing to defend other than their lives. So if we lose our flag against an enemy, we have to defeat, well, you know, most of you should know how capture the flag works. If the enemy stands on our flag, they basically take control of the area, and our objective is to beat them, defeat them, get back onto the post, and you have a limited number of time, not, well, in-game time, to get back your flag. But again, that's something that we'll be seeing. Ooh, there's a mammoth behind here, and I'm glad he's not in the fight. End deployment. Okay, so the deer is right here. And as I was saying, terrain is a big thing. Has a big effect, because we can't just march down from here to there and hit the deer. So we have to step down off this very high ground into slightly higher ground to attack. Okay, so in this game, each battle is divided into rounds, and there are a number of rounds per turn. So you can have, again, late game big battles. The big battles can take place over a number of turns with a number of rounds in between. So we currently have 3 rounds. Okay, a battle rounds. A number of battle rounds is played every turn. The number of remaining turns and rounds can be found at the top panel. So this battle is 1 turn long and has 3 rounds in the turn. So quickly do a bit of damage there, and again, attacking from high ground gives us a very big advantage. And in Humankind, the combat differences isn't really much. So our troop, if you look at the top, has 10 combat strength. The deer has 8 and is losing 1 because it's damaged. So we have a total of 3 combat difference. So as you can, if you look at the troops, if we initiate this battle, there is a chance I lose between 7 and 25% of my HP, of my total HP, and they can lose between 22 and 33%. So that's good odds for me. But that's 32, we lose 14. Let's go to attack, cause a wild animal, and boom. Spoils gain, 5 food, 5 influence. We are up to 15. Okay, so currently 3 growth stars, 4 knowledge stars, 1 hunting star. And then moving on to rivers takes your entire movement basically. So and once you're on the river, you can move freely along the river with your usual amount of movement speed. But if you go off and go back onto the river, you have to reapply that penalty. And then as a nomadic tribe, our units heal every turn once they're outside of enemy territory. I think. Okay, so we are supplied and we are nomadic, so we gain 20 HP, 40 HP per turn. So we're going to quickly heal that back up.
By building an outpost, claiming territory is this easy. The trick, of course, is keeping it.
Yes. Okay, so there's a mammoth here, a mammoth here. Looking at it, well, try this unit. this mammoth has 14 combat strength to our 10. And you saw how, with a difference of 3 combat strength, how we were able to defeat, well, a initial difference of 2 combat strength, how we were fairly easily able to defeat the deer. This is double the difference we had over the deer. So this can, by right, maybe beat us in maybe 2 rounds of the fight, as opposed to the almost 3 we took. So I am not going to fight this. Gonna...
Yes.
Okay, this is a sanctuary. This is where wild animals spawn. And this, we can ransack it.
Fire be with us.
Ransacking gives a bunch of food in the early game, and later it gives gold. Okay, so
This way.
more knowledge. Can I get over here? Ooh, this has horses, so here would be, this would be a decent territory to settle.
Onwards. Acknowledge.
And this has, oh, if you look, there's a bunch of little creatures just running around, and a bear. Okay, let's, okay, ransack successful, gain 5 food,
This way.
hit this, and boom, that is our knowledge star. So, a tribe's legacy. You stand at a crossroads. For many moons, the tribe has trekked the wilderness, slowly, treacherously learning the secrets of this world. How the materials hidden in the deep places and in plain sight might be fashioned to the tribe's advantage. How the beasts and plants of the land and seas can be most fruitfully harvested, and how myths and stories can glacially but inescapably give power over our greatest enemies, other tribes. Now you must decide in what domain the tribe will truly sharpen its knowledge for the ages to come. Will you be renowned as a maker, farmer, or charmer? Okay, so again, so we have our, okay, this I'll leave up, but this is actually kind of important. We have gotten 1, our era star, and 2, our Neolithic legacy trait. Again, I'll explain legacy traits in a bit before we wrap up this first episode of Humankind. So we can add wobble and dob, wattle and dob, sorry, and gives us 1 industry per population in a city or outpost. So the bigger the city, the more productive the city. Plant lore, the bigger the city, the more food in the city. Or astronomy, the bigger the city, the more science in the city. So this is overall good production. This is overall good science gain. This, your cities and outposts are slowed by the amount of food. So once you have a lot of food, your population is able to boom and grow quickly. So, and each population takes up some number of food. I don't remember exactly how much. And it is also, food is also the deciding factor on how quickly your population grows. So plant lore kind of subsidizes the amount of food. So you don't need as much food to grow, and you can sustain a bigger population with as much food as your opponents. So I personally lean towards plant lore, but these are all 3 solid picks. So I'm gonna confirm that, and fame. As I mentioned before, fame, ooh, this is bad. Okay, fame is the end all be all. So whoever has the most fame at the end of the game wins. Fame rewards the deeds of your tribe, and as tales of their accomplishments echo throughout the wilderness. In the Neolithic era, gain fame by discovering natural wonders, earning one of the 3 era stars. Earn as much fame as you can before you leave your mark. Okay, so we can stay in the Neolithic era a bit longer and earn more stars, but these guys are 13 food away from growing. These guys are 18. These guys are at 0, so they are 20. So this won't be enough. So I think once you have food on 2 different units and merge them, it kind of summarizes the total food. But I think if I quickly run here,
Do it.
okay, that gives us 15. That's 15. This will be a total 17. And I can just insert that. Almost died, but almost doesn't count. We are not dead. So these guys are up to 12. So I can try to merge. Okay. With this. Remind me later. With this, when merge these 2 units up, and they are both out of movement. So okay, that's exactly what I was looking for. So merge these 2. This is up to 17. We can go here, and boom, we are now up to 4 to 5. These guys just need a bit more food. That's science food, and that is a bear. Bears, as you can see, have a lightning bolt, which means they are hostile and will attack any and every opportunity they have. Okay, so this unit is weak. That is a bear. Our other units are over here. If I can step here. Okay. The bear is attacking. Since it's hostile, once we even step next to it, it decided it's going to fight. So, I guess we'll see how this fight goes next time. So, be sure to like, subscribe, and we'll continue this rundown into humankind in a few. See you guys.